Mikel Arteta's Arsenal won back-to-back games for the first time in nearly 2 months as they beat Nottingham Forest 2-1 at the City Ground Stadium. From interesting stats about Gabriel Jesus and Bukayo Saka to conversation about ESR to title race and transfer window wrap-up, let's discuss the talking point from Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 2. What's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Santi. If you're already here, kindly smash the like button. If you're new, kindly subscribe to the channel and support your boy as I push my way to 10,000 subscribers. In today's video, let's break down the talking point from Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 2. For me, the first talking point from the game is dominance. It was an absolute dominance performance. From what we've been seeing repeatedly from teams playing against Arsenal this season, we saw the same thing in this game, whereby Nottingham Forest set out in a low block, and it was so difficult to break them down as the game proceeded. If you look at the numbers from the game, Arsenal had 74% of possession, 1.3 xg, 19 shots, 3 shots on target, 16 open play shots. Free hit was 85.9% to Nottingham Forest 14.1%. Final third entry was 105 to Nottingham Forest 18. Expected threats created from Arsenal was 4.5 to Nottingham Forest 0.7, and deep touches was 81 to Nottingham Forest 19. Zone 14 touches was 65 to Nottingham Forest 4. Progressive passes was 67 to Nottingham Forest 9. Dribble successful was 7 out of 15 for Arsenal, and Arsenal successfully completed 16 out of 21 tackles. Interceptions was 6 from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest 15. Blocked passes from Nottingham Forest was 7, Arsenal had 1, and clearances from Nottingham Forest was 47 to Arsenal's 12. Arsenal committed 7 fouls to Nottingham Forest 6. If you look at the numbers, you could tell that Nottingham Forest spent most of the game defending. They came to this game, to snatch out a draw, which made it extremely difficult for Arsenal to break them down on the night, as we just kept on passing the ball around the pitch, looking to break down their defense, which was extremely difficult for us to do in the first half, as we came out of that first half with 0 shot on target, and we didn't look like we were going to win on the night. If you take a look at the field hits, you can see we dominated them for most part of the game, and they only started threatening when Awoniyi came on late on in the second half, where they were able to get a consolation goal and threaten us at the end of the game. It was a silly last 5 minutes from us, and we put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. I expected Saliba to be doing better on their goal, dealing with Awoniyi there. This guy is a menace anytime he's playing against Arsenal. He scored against us in 3 games on the bounce, and again tonight he did it again after coming back from injury. He's been out for nearly 2 months, and his first game back, and of course he scored against us again. If you look at their defensive action, they spend most of the time in their box defending the game. You can see the heat map and where they spend most of the game defending. For me, it was an incredible performance. We dominated them, and this has been happening again and again and again this season. I keep telling people to get used to these things, because teams are now respecting us in the league. This is unlike last season whereby everybody was coming out to play against us, but this season so far, they know we are a better team than we used to be back in the last couple of years. And this season they've just been coming out. They've just been setting up a low block against us, trying to snatch out a draw, and probably try to draw us out of our own area and exploit the space we leave behind on counter-attack. But so far this season, I believe we've dealt with this fairly enough, in my opinion, and we did absolutely the same thing in this game. And if you look at their subs, they brought in Otsunodo in the second half. They brought in Elanga, and you could say what they were trying to do. Hit us on the counter, square it for Awoniyi, bam, back of the net. But we dealt with that late on, even though we're under pressure. It was an incredible defensive performance from Gabriel. Saliba bad at moments where he was struggling with Awoniyi, and you can't really blame him. Awoniyi is a very physical striker who a lot of top defenders in the league have struggled with physically. When you're talking about the likes of Van Dijk, Ruben Dias, and all those players, big defenders have struggled with his physicality in the league lately. So you can't really fault him much for that. But I believe he should be doing better on that second goal. A lot of people have been jumping on Zinchenko because it's the easiest scapegoat when it comes to defensive liability in the team. But Saliba, for me, should be doing better on that occasion. And there was a second occasion where we narrowly escaped, where I felt like he should be doing better again. But yeah, we came out of that game with 3 points, and we can get our confidence back on the way, put together an encouraging run going forward. Number 2 thing I would like to talk about is the title race. It's not over until it's mathematically over. Hear me out. I've seen a lot of people, overreacting in December when we were on that horrible winless run. That, the title race is over, this and that, we're in the top 4 race now, this, blah, blah, blah. It's not over yet. Look at what happened tonight. After tonight is when we're second on the table, 2 points behind. Liverpool has 48 points and 1 game in hand. Man City has 3 points behind us, although they have 2 games in hand. And Aston Villa, after losing to Newcastle tonight, they are also 3 points behind us now, having played the same number of games. And Tottenham are 6 points behind us. They have 1 game in hand. So if you look at it, anything can happen. If any team slips up now, the title race is back on. For me, it's not over yet. Liverpool are playing Chelsea tomorrow, which is a very tricky fixture for them. Tottenham are playing Brentford tomorrow, which is another very tricky fixture for them. You can't underrate Brentford. And Man City are hosting Burnley. I can't really say much about that. I expect them to beat Burnley because they are clear favorites, but anything can happen. All I'm saying is, if you look at the league table, if anybody slips up, then there's a problem. Anybody can overtake anybody at this moment. Stop overreacting. The title race is still well on. We just have to position ourselves in a good place in case anybody slips up. Liverpool slips up, Man City slips up. We are there to, the league position is there for us for the taking. We just have to focus on our games. Take it 1 game at a time. Win against Liverpool next week. We beat Liverpool next week. Then who can say? If we beat Liverpool next week, we are way back in the title race. 100%. We'll just be 2 points behind them. All we have to do now is focus on that game and do everything to win that game. The third thing I would love to talk about is ESR. You need to give this guy time. You can't expect him to come straight back into the starting lineup and expect him to get back into his old form yet. The last time this guy had the start in the league was 2023, and the previous time he had the start in the league before then was 2022. So he's basically had his last 3 starts in the Premier League in 3 different calendar years. So unfortunately, he's been dealing with injuries. He's not had consistent run of games, so he has to be eased back in. And that's why I've been, telling people, you need to calm down. The manager, the medical team knows when and how best to ease this guy back in, because a lot of people have been saying, Havertz has not been working in that midfield, and fairly so, it's not really been working. But pushing ESR in there, for me, you need to ease this guy back in. I wasn't expecting him to start today. I was expecting Jorginho to start in that midfield and Declan Rice play IR, but then ESR was given a run, which was good to see. I mean, I can't complain, but I'm just saying it takes time for him to get back to his normal self. Today, for me, he had an average game. Didn't do much, didn't do anything wrong, and didn't really do much going forward. But you could see that glimpse of his usual self in him today, and you can tell confidently that with a consistent run of games, he will be back to his best self in no time. I just don't feel like he should be starting games yet. Maybe bring him off the bench in the 68th minute, 65th minute, give him solid minutes consistently until he gets back to his usual self. So for me, I'm clamoring for him to be given more time, more and more time, as much time as he could get, to get back to his old self. Fourth talking point for the game for me is Gabriel Jesus. This guy is extremely crucial to how we play. I know it's frustrating sometimes, missed a lot of big chances. For me, it frustrates me as well, but he's an interesting guy. On his day, he's one of the best players in the world on his day. And tonight, he showed that again. Missed 1 big chance in the first half, played 78 minutes, scored 1 goal, provided 1 assist, 2 shots on target, 3 shots off target, had 1 shot blocked, rattled the woodwork once, had 3 successful dribble out of 5, one big chance missed, 63 touches with 69% pass accuracy, had 2 key passes, 1 out of 1 crosses, 5 out of 9 ground draws, and 2 out of 4 area draws. He had a good game for me, one of the best players on the pitch. The way the life he brings into our attack, how in link-up play between him and Martinelli, between him and Saka, how he swap wing with Saka, sometimes swap it with Martinelli, and how he connects with our midfield. He just like he's one of the glue in the team, that connects the whole system together and how we play. And right now, if he stays fit right now, he just needs to start every single game of the week. I've been saying it since the beginning of the season that form in the Champions League he needs to bring into the league. Consistently, he needs to do it. And there's one or two interesting stats about him. Gabriel Jesus has now scored against all but one of the side he has played multiple games against in the Premier League. Only one side that is missing, Manchester City. And you could understand that he only left them 2 seasons ago. And Arsenal since then has only won 1 game against Manchester City in full time, obviously in full time. So a game in which he had a good game as well, played on the right wing in Bukayo Saka's absence. And there's one other interesting stat about him. Gabriel Jesus has never lost a Premier League game in which he has scored. 60 games unbeaten in which this guy has scored. I think the last player I kept a close attention at with this kind of start was James Milner. In a game where James Milner has scored, he has never lost during his spell at Liverpool. Anyways, I haven't been following up with him at Brighton. But it's interesting to see Jesus with this kind of start as well. Just get him at the end of our chances, convert them, and maybe if you keep up this start to the end of the season and probably score in nearly every game, maybe we'll go on and win the league. But that other aside is our best striker at the club right now, and Iketa just isn't good enough in my opinion, even to be our backup striker. We need Jesus to stay fit from now till the end of the season, because apparently we're not signing anybody this window, as the transfer deadline is today, and it doesn't look like we're signing anybody. We just need him to stay fit, and I beg Mikel to manage his minutes as much as possible, because if he gets injured, then we're fucked. Last thing I'm talking about is the general team performance. David Raya couldn't do much about the goal, had an average game for me. Ben White had a decent game. I think he's been good in the last 2 games, but going forward, I feel like he needs to offer better going forward. His crosses has been below par for me this season. He still needs to improve on that. Saliba, like I said earlier, needed to do better on that Awoniyi goal, and he struggles aerially as well. He needs to improve his area ability. He has the height and he has the body. It just seems to struggle about against players that against strikers that are physical and very strong in the air. He struggles against them a lot. So I need him to improve on that. And Gabriel, for me, had a very good game as well. I completed the most passes in the game, I think, of any player that played over 45 minutes, completed over 100 passes in the game. And Zinchenko was one of our best players today. A lot of people have been killing him for that goal that we consider, because it was the one that played, I don't know who won, played a Nottingham Forest winger that squared the ball to Awoniyi. But, I mean, he's been doing that a lot. He did it against Liverpool, the Salah goal. It was the one that played Salah on. And tonight again, he did it again. I was the one that played the Nottingham Forest winger on. He just needs to work on that aspect of his game. I think it stems from him, being criticized for his defensive ability. So it tends to stay very close to his man in a bid not to lose his man. And along the process, it tends to play them on. This has happened against Liverpool. It happened tonight again. But I won't blame the goal on him entirely, because he played him on already, and the rest of the defenders could have dealt with Awoniyi there, because it wasn't really a comfortable goal for him. The fact that they didn't deal with it pretty well enabled him to score the goal. But who is the easy scapegoat? Of course, Zinchenko. For me, he had a very good game. Played 89 minutes, had 0 goals, obviously. 1 assist, one clearance, 1 block shot, 1 tackle, was dribble pass once. For someone that's poor defensively, it was only dribble pass once in the game. Had 123 touches, completed 100 out of 107 passes at the rate of 93% accuracy. Had 4 key passes, completed 2 out of 4 crosses, 3 out of 3 long ball accuracies, 2 out of 4 draws. Was poor aerially today for someone that is so strong in the air. Only won 1 of 4 area draws, and created most chances in the game alongside Bukayo Saka. Created 1 big chance and completed the most passes in the game, which was 100. For me, he had a very good game, one of the best players on the pitch, but people will, ignore all of that and focus on that one goal we considered because what he played the winger on, and we considered from the fact that Saliba and Gabriel couldn't deal with Awoniyi in the box. But yeah, for me, he had a very good game. Declan Rice again had a very good game, a commanding performance. He didn't have much to do defensively because obviously we dominated the game. We're on the ball nearly over 80% of the time, so we didn't really have much of defensive works to do. Played 95 minutes, 1 key pass, 91% pass accuracy, 3 long balls, 5 of 6 ground draws, 3 of 5 area draws, lost possession 13 times, was fouled once, had 1 clearance, 4 tackles, was dribble past once. Declan Rice had the most tackles in the game, which was 3, and the most draws in the game, which was 8. 8 draws in the game in total. Most of any players on the pitch in that game. And generally, it was just good. Didn't have much of defensive job to do, and every time I was given the ball, to start the attack, he kept it simple, gave it to the nearest players. It was a typical Declan Rice performance for me. Odegaard as well was good, had a very good game, kept things ticking in the middle of the park, set the tempo, controlled the game for us. Had a decent game for me. And ESR, like I said earlier, had an average game, didn't do much, didn't do anything wrong, and it wasn't a standout performance for him for an ESR, standard. But obviously he had an average game, and like I said, need a decent run of games before we can start calling for him to get back to his best form. But today it was good to see him get a start in the team. And Bukayo Saka today had a decent game. I won't say his best performance, but had a decent game, was impactful, created 4 chances as well, created 1 big chance, played 90 minutes, scored 1 goal, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, blocked 4 blocked shots, 72 shot touches, 81% pass accuracy, 4 key passes, couldn't complete a single cross, which is extremely poor of him. Completed 1 out of 3 long balls, another poor start from him. 3 of 6 ground dwells, 0 area dwells, lost possession 20 times, was fouled once. I think he had I'll say a decent game if you look at his numbers. There's an interesting stat about him. Bukayo Saka is the first Arsenal player, according to scorecards, to score 10 plus goals and provide 10 plus assists across all competitions in back-to-back seasons since Alexis Sanchez in 2017. And this one thing about Saka, even on his bad day, he still managed to contribute to the team, and that's where people get pissed about it. Like, he's sting the whole game up and starts bad with goals and assists. But at the end of the day, these are one of the most important part of the game for an attacker. Your output. Even if you're not having a very good game, find a way to have an output in the game, and that's what he does. On his best day, he's one of the best players in the world. Even on his worst day, he still managed to contribute to the team, have an impact on the game, and that's exactly what happened tonight. Didn't really have a good game for me. It was a decent game, but still had an impact. Scored our second goal. Had it been, he didn't put that chance away, we're probably coming out of that game with a draw. So yeah, I can't complain. Jesus, I talked about Jesus earlier, had an excellent game, provided 1 goal, 1 assist. Still on 60 games unbeaten run in any game he scored in the Premier League. So yeah, I want to see more of this going forward. Consistency, which is what this guy has struggled with throughout throughout his career so far. So I want to see more of this till the end of the season. Stay fit, keep up your goal scoring form. And Martinelli still struggled again. I was calling for Trossard to start before the game because Martinelli has been struggling for consistency this season, and I know he came off the bench in the last game against Crystal Palace, scored 2 goals, but it wasn't enough to guarantee him a start. Put Trossard on, send the message right out there, like, if you're trying to get your starting spot back, you have to fight for it. Show me something you can do consistently off the bench and you can get your starting lineup back. But if you're throwing it out like a toy, then mentally, I don't think it will do him a lot of good mentally. If you're throwing back the starting lineup or the starting spots for him after every one good performance in 5 games. So yeah, today it was average for me today. And Trossard came on late on in the second half and provided more trade than Martinelli that has played majority of the game. So yeah, that's that about Martinelli. And everybody that came off the bench today did their bits. Kivior came off, Jorginho came off. His experience was telling at the point where he was trying to waste time, asking the ref to check the Nottingham Forest defenders wall at the point, and it was really cheeky of him. It was a good time wasting tactics for me. I don't know if anybody clocked that, but yeah, everybody came on, did their bit. What a 3 points to have. And the last thing I'll be talking about is the transfer window. No need for any meltdown. I've been saying this before the window began, that it's the January window and it's difficult to get level racers in the January transfer window. Nobody wants to give you their best players in the middle of the season. Not Brentford, who has been missing Ivan Toney for 8 months. They're not going to give you their best player now, after paying his wages for 8 months when he was banned from the game, and you expect him to come back after 8 months and they sell him immediately. Of course, no. They still want to gain some things from him before he inevitably leave in the summer. Vlahovic, Juventus won't sell him to you mid-season. Dominic Solanke is a short-term fix that will probably be a long-term problem, because this is the best form of his career so far. He's 26, and this is the best form of his career. So if you're getting him now, which I guarantee you are going to overpay for him, because he's their best player right now, that's keeping them away from the relegation battle. And if you're going to price him away from them, you have to pay premium. Plus, he's an homegrown player, English, so you have to pay a lot of money for him. A short-term fix will probably be a long-term problem. So yeah, we have to stay away from it. And who else are we linked to as a striker? Zubimendi would not leave mid-season. He's so committed to Real Sociedad, and it'll take a lot of convincing for him to even leave them in the summer. So you're not getting him mid-season. For me, if we can't do a proper business, then it's good not doing business at all, because people just want to say signings, so let's make signings, this and that, blah, 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 new players joining the squad. For me, anything we're doing, we have to do a proper business. I've been saying it. If you want to upgrade on a player, do it properly. If you want to, bring a backup into the team, do it properly. And right now, backups is not really what we need. Even though I would say we need a backup maybe for Saliba, but even the kind of backup that we need for Saliba is not a backup that will come in and, the entire team level would drop down massively. We need a backup that will fill in, and we won't really miss the impact of Saliba that much. Like the kind of Declan Rice to Partey. We still miss Partey in the team, but with Declan Rice playing, not so much like we used to back in the days whereby we had Lokonga to come in. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting us to do much of a business this window, and that's been the case so far. I can't really complain about that, even though I would have loved us to have a striker this window. At a point, I was frustrated enough to ask for a striker signing, but let's face the reality, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to sell you their best players mid-season, and whichever short-term fix that we can have, it's not better than what we already have. The only person that is close is Solanke, and they won't sell him for you, except you are overpaying massively for him, maybe in excess of 40-50 million, which doesn't make sense, considering the fact that we are even in a very tight spot with FFP after spending massively in the summer. So yeah, that's that about the transfer window, and that's that about the video today. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please kindly subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Let me know what you took away from the game, your man of the match, and what you learned from the game. Opinion on title race as well. Get involved in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one.